On this trip, I'm headed out to bow hunt for javelina on the arid landscape of West Texas.
Where are your buddies?
These critters are known for their tenacity and viciousness when backed into a corner, though the boars average only about 60 pounds. And since I'm certainly not the world's best archer, I need to get plenty close to my quarry before I try to seal the deal with an arrow. I'm Steven Ranella. To me, hunting isn't only about the pursuit of an animal. It's about who we are and what we're made of. It's about sustenance, survival. It's about connecting to the land. It's about the purity of the challenge. It's about life. In each and every one of us, there is a primal instinct to hunt and consume. I live to hunt and hunt to live. I am a meat eater.
I'm in the Big Bend region of West Texas, about 8 miles from the Mexican border. And this is a strange and dangerous land. If you talk to an archaeologist about this area, they talk about the way Indian tribes would be in here, then they just vanish for hundreds of years. No one knows why. Then they come back. And now, across that border is one of the most dangerous war grounds in the world because of drug wars. So this is a weird place to come hunting. But I wanted to come in here because there's scatterings of javelina in some of this rugged country in here. I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't really know where I'm at very well. I'm not familiar with this country, but I'm gonna stay back in here a couple days. Stay down these low grounds when I'm traveling. Just try to keep a low profile. See if I can find a javelina.
My first order of business is to find a good place to drop my gear and set up camp. I come across a good campsite, though I'm definitely not the first guy to use it.
You can see in here that there's real heavy trails going up into this cave area. Holy cow, man. There's like there's pictographs. There's a hand up there, like a horse shape right there. I would be willing to bet that at some point in time, someone sat under this cave and ate javelina meat. Because look, this is all black from fire. There's more hands. Someone used to obviously live in this thing. It's just hard to say like how many different layers of activity we're looking at here. Because obviously, at a time, this was a more livable space down here, and then all this rock came down. Which makes you wonder when it's gonna come down next. I mean, one of those boys coming down on you is gonna end your javelina hunt in no time. Like they'd be digging through here in 100 years and find some dude's compound bow down here. There's a cameraman.
Even without the cave, the flat, soft ground and abundance of firewood makes this a great spot to set up camp. Plus, there's water close by. Once I'm unpacked, it's time to get to work. I want to get some hunting time in before I run out of light. Of all the native game species on this continent, javelina are probably the least well known. Guys often call them pigs, though they're actually a member of the peccary family. Specifically, they're called the collared peccary. It's believed that the name javelina comes from their teeth, which are as sharp as spears or javelin points. Their tracks, though, do look awfully similar to the tracks of wild hogs.
Here's a javelina track right here. They're remotely related to pigs, but they're not pigs. But they have a track that resembles pig-like track. It tends to be smaller. They're more spread out. They don't angle in the same way that deer do. Like the tips of the toes don't point together.
Fresh tracks are an encouragement. At least I know they're in the area.
So what I want to do is, as the evening comes on, I just want to get up somewhere where I can see a lot of ground. I think what I might do is just climb up to a high spot and just get an idea what's going on. Because if I stay down in these canyons the whole time like this, I'll never really see anything but just like what's immediately here. Look at this big, huge valley. I feel like if I sit here an hour in this glass, I'm gonna find something. Might not be able to go after it tonight, but we'll find it. be able to keep glass until that sunset, so I got a while, you know. Stuff could happen. Just covering ground and glassing, covering ground and glassing. They gotta be here somewhere.
I sit for an hour and pick apart every piece of ground.
The sun's just now setting. I'm running out of daylight. And I honestly have not seen a thing. Not even a coyote.
I have to call it a day. Try again tomorrow. Even though I didn't see any javelina today, I'm not worried yet. I saw some tracks, so I know they're around. And they're not like elk, meaning they're not gonna migrate out of here. So I'm resigned to eating freeze-dried food for now. But eating out of a bag does give me an idea on how I might cook my javelina if I can get my hands on one. The ridge that I was on yesterday was a great vantage point, so I get up early and go back to see if I can spot some javelina feeding. When I get to the top, I realize I'm stuck in the clouds and can't see anything below.
Yeah, the way it's dying, man. Just like totally in the cloud up here, can't see anything. I was really thinking about finding these critters, these javelina, by just taking advantage of high points above good-looking ground and just being able to really look at a lot of stuff, but I can't see. I can shoot a rifle farther than I can see right now. So you gotta be adaptable, recalculate your plan, but then you don't wanna be impulsive and just like give up on your plan, and all of a sudden 5 minutes later, you know, it clears up. The smartest thing to do is just accept that you can't really see anything and go down to a lower elevation and make up a new idea. Javelina are kind of like deer in their movements, where they're very active in the evening, they're very active in the dawn. The word for that is crepuscular. These guys are crepuscular, active in the waning light. They'll eat almost everything. One of their favorite foods is prickly pear, but they'll eat bird eggs, birds. They'll eat meat. If they find a downed animal, they might eat it. They got these razor-sharp teeth that scrape together and sharpen each other as they chew. They have a very coarse outer fur. It's almost like wire. It's like a coat of armor. But there's no woolly underfur underneath that like most animals have. So they don't handle cold well. They don't have good vision. So what I want to do, keep my eyes peeled for groups. You might see groups of, you know, it could be 4, it could be up to a dozen in a gang. And once you see them moving, if you're watching the wind and they don't see you, you're probably okay until you get really close. So if you find a herd, then you can put the moves on it and try to get out ahead of it and stalk it. You don't want to pressure them, you don't want to run them hard, but just kind of stay with those groups and stay with waiting for an opportunity when you can get out ahead of it and make your shot. Here's a group of fresh tracks here. See, they kicked around a whole bunch here. This group's all going up here. All these tracks are coming and going out of this cave. This is the best thing we found yet. There's fresh piss up in here. Yep. I think this might be what we wind up making work. Is this area right here. That's what we're after right there. We just need to find one of these with the javelina still connected to it. There she is. Where are your buddies? Yeah, very good chance you got picked off by a lion in here. Here's another big wad of tracks. They came just very recently. Deer and javelina tracks. Deer and javelina have been drinking here. There's a group of javelina up feeding on prickly pear cactus. They're clueless that we're here. I better move before they get on me.
Bow hunting forces you to be more vigilant in your approach. Although javelina do have poor eyesight, they have a decent sense of smell. If they're pressured at all, they can become wary to the odor of predators. So I need to be careful to stay downwind if I'm gonna get close enough to take a good shot.
I don't want to spook them. Those are big ones. That second to last one's a bruiser. I gotta keep going like this because the wind. If you'd have turned a little bit, I'd have had a good shot, but I didn't want to take it. Their lungs are real far forward. I just didn't want to take like a, some people call that a Texas heart shot, right at the backside.
At this point, the animals know something's not right. Basically, I'm just following the herd, trailing them. If I don't pressure them too hard, we can do this until one of them screws up and gives me an opportunity.
That looked like a pretty good hit. I hope so. Here's where he turned and spun. Here's the arrow. There's blood here, but I think the thing to do right now is just sit tight for a while and not rush it. Give it an hour or two and then follow along. And, let it lay down, bleed out. I don't want to jump them back up. Should probably just kick it for a while. Oh. Nice. That's a big old boar there, man. Look at that sucker. Yeah. Look at those tusks. See that? They sharpen their teeth every time they close their mouth. Just like sharpening a knife. I'm not like a huge trophy hunter, but this skull is going front and center on the bookshelf. Look at the dew claw on this thing. He's got one dew claw like normal. He's got this one crazy curly dew claw. The other weird thing, that thing right there, right on their back, is a scent gland. That's why people call these things skunk pigs. It smells like skunk light. If you ever take someone out javelina hunting, have them look at that gland and pinch that, and you'll squirt that stuff right in their face. Just a bizarre, nasty feature. People hear the name javelina and they think of how strangely ugly they are and how they got that smell to them, and they'll kind of turn their nose up at them. But you can imagine living on this land and making all your own tools, clothes, and your own shoes and feeding yourself day in and day out. You couldn't afford to turn your nose up at something. You had to be respectful and happy about everything that came your way. I try to keep that in mind when I'm hunting and not act like things aren't worthy of me or I'm too good for something. It's a great hunt. It's tough country. It's a cool animal to chase after. You gotta respect this animal when you're hunting it, and you gotta respect this animal after you kill it.
Cooking that freeze-dried food in the bag the other night reminded me of an old Native American cooking method I've read about but never actually attempted. So it seems appropriate, as a way to honor the people who used to live off this land, to try and cook as they did hundreds of years ago, without the benefit of metal pots and pans. First, I need to start a fire and collect some lava rocks to heat in the flames.
See, this is what I'm thinking of right here. How there's a lot of holes in this thing. It's porous. That's gonna hold our heat better. Oh, that's a beauty right there. I like that rock. Yeah, these are good rocks.
Next, I'll cut off a meal's worth of meat. Since I already got an incision here from when I cut that gland away yesterday, I'm just gonna continue my cut. Pull these loins out. Grab a little rump here. And here's where it gets interesting. I saved the stomach from the javelina, and I'm gonna wash it out and use it as a makeshift cooking pot. Okay, what I need to do now is I need to make a pit in the ground that I can line with my stomach. Oh, that's gonna be good. The problem I foresee, though, is we're gonna get too much sand in our food. So I need to line this hole with something so I can move without getting dirt down in there. I'm laying these things around here just so I got a little apron around the hole. So now I can pin my stomach here, and I just got less sand falling into it. Okay. This is the weirdest looking thing I've ever seen. Can you imagine if you were out hiking in the woods and you came across this thing? You wouldn't know what was going on. You would run for your life. I'm gonna put my meat in first. And I'm gonna use hot lava rocks to boil water inside that stomach and boil pieces of meat. You know, I already know what you're thinking. You're thinking, why go through all the trouble when you can just cook the meat on the fire? And the answer is, I was in the mood for boiled meat and not roasted meat, that's why. This is too much. This is the only way I'm gonna cook at home from now on. The steam coming off this smells just like the stink gland on a javelina. This will go down as the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my entire life. This has all kinds of implications. My life will never be the same. As the meat cooks, I continue to swap in new rocks to keep the temperature up for about 15 minutes. When I think it's fully cooked through, I take out the last rocks, then poke a few holes in the bottom to let the water drain out. All right, there she is. Make sure it's done.
Oh, it's actually totally cooked all the way through. A little bit of grit. The meat tastes better than a Javelina smells. It's good. This is a very successful hunt. I learned something. You can only hunt, I think, so long before you start getting curious about the ways of hunters before you. We have in us as hunters, I think, a tendency to want to know what it was like to have walked in someone's shoes from the past. And I don't know why cooking game meat would be any different. I like to know how people hunted things in the past and how they ate in the past. I think it's just general hunter's instinct to be curious about the people who walked the land before you did. And it gives you a more enhanced appreciation of not only our own activities and skills today, but also just an enhanced appreciation of what people did before us. It tastes 10 times better than it looks. You're not gonna wanna believe me, but I'm telling you, it tastes 10 times better than it looks, man. It's really pretty good.